Chargers wide receiver Keenan Allen making the emphatic declaration that his quarterback Justin Herbert is the best in the league. Not sure I would agree with that, but he's been playing like
It's super weird that Keenan Allen has been in the NFL as long as he has and has yet to see Patrick Mahomes play football.
It's a good one.
It seems weird. But if all you see is Justin Herbert, then you probably think, yeah, Justin Herbert is the best quarterback.
He's pretty good. I mean, the gap between him and Tua Tagovailoa on Sunday night looked like the gap between someone and the best quarterback in the league.
Was significant.
Herbert,
the truth of the matter is that on a pure skill standpoint, Herbert's right up there.
He might be. Last season, a lot of the advanced numbers said Justin Herbert was the best quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, if you had an actual NFL draft and every player was in the pool, I don't know who's picking for, but I tell you that guy ain't getting Justin Herbert. I mean, it would be Mahomes, Allen, and Herbert in some order. Would be my guess.
I think it's that order that you said. It'd be Mahomes, then Allen, then Herbert. I think
would be the right, and then my Jalen Hurts guy would be up there.
And then Taylor Heineke would be 461st.
Oh man,
Justin Herbert though is on the love list.
Carson Wentz 462. Anyway, Justin Herbert, I think he's going to have a monster game. Whether he's the best quarterback in the NFL, I don't know, but he might be the best quarterback in fantasy this week. He comes in at number 4 of my quarterback ranks, but wouldn't be surprised if he winds up at number 1 here. We've talked about this matchup again. Tennessee, really good against the run, really bad against the pass, which is one of the reasons why Mike Williams made the love list as well. Over those last 4 games, incidentally, coincides with Keenan Allen coming back. Justin Herbert's averaging 21.5 fantasy points per game. He's averaging almost 44 pass attempts per game. You see it there on your screen, the game log, in terms of how good he's been going. Second most passing yards allowed per game, the Tennessee Titans. Over the last 4 weeks, they're also giving up the second most touchdown passes this year. Herbert should be nothing short of spectacular. If you made the playoffs with him as your quarterback, you're feeling good this week.
Yep, I'm with you. And I think the most encouraging thing is that the Chargers were leading that game against the Dolphins basically the entire way after the first quarter, and Justin Herbert still threw the ball 51 times. So it's clear that they are committed to throwing the ball. He's not running as much as you'd like this year. I think a lot of that was with the ribs earlier on. He has had some rushing games, but regardless, if he's going to throw it 51 times, then he's going to be a top 4 quarterback in fantasy.
The only concern, and it's a very small one, the only concern is if the pace of play in this game isn't that much, because I do think Derrick Henry is going to have a lot of success running the ball against the Chargers, and I just think they're going to grind out these 10-yard drive, 10-play drives against the Chargers. It's going to be Derrick Henry over again.
We're due for a big Derrick Henry game. It looked like it was going to be last week, and then he had 2 yards in the second half. But it's coming at some point, and it might be against this bad Chargers rushing defense. Let's talk about Dak Prescott, a guy who used to throw the ball 51 times.
Doesn't need to anymore.
Yeah, now it's the Zeke and Pollard show, but he's still on the love list.
Micah Parsons is super annoying for those of us that have Dak Prescott in fantasy, because they don't need to get into shootouts anymore.
Yeah.
That defense is really good.
Yeah.
Having said that, again, we talked about this game earlier in the show. We think this is one of the sneakier, higher-scoring games. Again, I think it's the 4th highest on the slate at the moment, and it's a good matchup with the Jaguars. I mean, they're bad against the secondary. They're given the 3rd most passing yards per game over the last 4 weeks. They've been allowed 22.4 fantasy points per game to opposing quarterbacks over that stretch. The last 5 quarterbacks, Jay Croucher, the last 5 quarterbacks to face the Jacksonville Jaguars have all scored at least 17.5 fantasy points. Dak Prescott gets that number easily this week as well. He's my number 7 quarterback. Dak is back.
That's a weird game. Cowboys 4-point favorites, total 48. I don't know what to make of the Jags. What are the Jaguars? They beat Baltimore with Lamar Jackson when he was playing, and then they have the big win over Tennessee in Tennessee, and then between that they get blown out by 26 by the Lions.
They also went to LA and kicked the crap out of the Chargers in the beginning of the year when we thought the Chargers were good.
They lost to the Texans. They're the only team to lose to the Texans. They get blown out by 26 by the Lions. What the hell is this team?
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's very confusing. I don't like it. I don't like when things don't make sense.
It makes no sense at all. What makes less sense? A question for you. What makes less sense? The Jaguars as an NFL team.
Yes.
Or the Jaguars mascot wearing a thong.
Yeah, well, I think it's right. It's on brand.
It is on brand. It doesn't make sense. Because he's got fur. You can't see any private parts. He doesn't need a thong. He's not covering anything up. Because he doesn't have anything to cover up. You would assume that whatever he has to cover up is covered by the fur.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's a kid-appropriate mascot.
Nothing makes sense.
Until then he wears the he wears the string bikini, like he's like, and all of a sudden it's up his butt.
Yeah.
And it's the thong, it's the he's all of a sudden he's like he's on Instagram promoting Bang Energy or whatever. Like he's it's like
nothing makes sense in Duval. It's like a David Lynch movie.
Yes.
Mulholland Jags.
Anyway, here's what does make sense. Starting Dak Prescott at quarterback this week.
Yep. Let's get to some others receiving votes, headlined by a guy playing tonight, the immortal Brock Purdy.
All right, so this is you got to squint to sort of see it. The argument for Brock Purdy is that he's healthy enough to start. He had the oblique, but he's going to go as well. Seahawks defense really bad. Since week 10, they're giving up 410 offensive yards per game, fourth most in the NFL. Brock Purdy has averaged 18 fantasy points per game over the last 2 weeks. He's had multiple touchdowns passes in both games this year. Dump offs to Chris McCaffrey that he then runs for 40 yards.
They count.
Those still count. So Brock Purdy, I do think, is a risky but viable QB2 this week. I love Aaron Rodgers. We just talked about this. Aaron Rodgers at home, off the bye, at Lambeau, makes another statement. Again, he is he's got a chip on his shoulder. He wants to show everyone what they're missing out. And look, no one's ever excited about starting Matt Ryan, and that includes the Colts. No one wants to actually start Matt Ryan, but I do think if you're truly desperate and you're scrounging around, and like you've been beating the waiver wire for the Mike Whites and the Brock Purdys of the world, you're in a deeper league, I think you could do worse than Matt Ryan, who faces a Vikings defense that since week 10 is allowing 335 passing yards per game, over 300 passing yards in 5 straight. Harrison Smith didn't play last week. We don't know if he's going to be able to play this week as well. That's a big loss to that secondary. So hard to think Matt Ryan could be okay here.
Matt Ryan's your 3 a.m. closing time.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you're definitely on fantasy football pregame, we always do how drunk do you have to be to start this guy? We always do our beer goggles segment, and I'd want to be pretty buzzed to start Matt Ryan. But I have to tell you, there have been times, Jay Croucher, in my life when I have made decisions pretty hammered. Pretty hammered.
There are worse decisions you can make.
And not all of them I've regretted.
Yeah.
There's some decisions that I've made completely blasted out of my mind, and I woke up in the morning and said, you know what? All right.
Yeah.
That was all right.
Good for you, Matthew. Good for me.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Now, I will admit that sometimes the next morning, are like, you know what? I don't regret that at all. And then, the woman next to me is just like, oh, God, what'd I do? Right? I mean, so I understand, listen, it's, it's not always two-sided, but I'm just saying there's the times I've made decisions drunk where I've been okay with them.
Okay. Well, let's talk about some more decisions.
To be honest with you, I thought that would get a better reaction. I got to be honest with you. I thought that was a pretty good joke. I didn't think you saw where I was going, honestly. I thought I was going to get a good laugh out of you, and I didn't.
Apparently the control
room loves it, just so you know. They like that. They like that.
Boy. All right.
I mean, come on. Yeah, no, just imagine you got drunk and then the next morning you wake up next to me. Yeah. That's a bad night.
Oh, boy.
That's a bad night, Jay Croucher, for you.
For me personally, that would be a very strange evening. It would be a very strange evening. It would take some strange turns.
Listen, I will say this. The NBC Sports holiday party is tonight.
Yeah, so a boy can drink.
Well, you never know. Night's young, Jay Croucher.
Yeah.
Let's you and I do some shots together.
I'd rather wake up next to Jared Goff.
Fair enough.
And he's on the hate list, though, for you.
He is, unfortunately, on the hate list. Look, Jared Goff was on the love list last week. He showed up as a top 3 fantasy quarterback. He was just awesome. I think the tune changes. One of the reasons we loved Jared Goff last week, he was at home. He's great at home. This week, not so much. He's on the road. We don't like it. He traditionally has not been good on the road. He's traditionally not been good when he's under pressure. He's traditionally not been good in cold weather. All 3 things are going to happen this week. He's on the road with the Jets. We expect it to be cold weather. And oh, by the way, the Jets really bring pressure. And so when he is under pressure, Jared Goff has struggled. Look, in 3 of the 5 road games this year, he's had under 7 fantasy points. Just absolutely brutal. He's averaging just 8.5 fantasy points per game on the road this year. He has just 2 touchdowns on the road this year. And then you think about the Jets, who have allowed the second fewest passing touchdowns per game this year. It's a very low over-under in this one, 44.5. Last I saw it. We actually expect that because the Jets will be able to move the ball against the Lions. They're favored here.
Yes.
Right?
It's pick right now. It's actually gone back to pick.
So the Jets open is the favorite, but
it's been moving around. The thing with Jared Goff is if you go back through his game log, He's literally never had a good game on the road as a Detroit Lion, outside of like one random game early last year against the Bears, who have an awful defense. The past 2 games he was on the road this year against the Giants and the Bears, he had 401 total yards and 1 touchdown. And those are much, much worse defenses than the Jets that he's going to get this week.
There's very few people that are like, woohoo, I'm in Detroit. But Jared Goff is one of them.
He loves Detroit.
He loves Detroit.
He loves the dome. Loves a controlled environment.
Controlled environment.
Climate.
He likes a clean pocket.
Yes.
Yeah.
Loves a clean pocket.
So anyway, and I don't think he's going to have that. He's my QB 19 this week.
Yep. Also probably not going to have a clean pocket is Derek Carr going up against Matthew Judon, who has 14.5 sacks. The quietest 14.5 sack season through 14 weeks in NFL history. I don't think people even...
He's been unbelievable.
What percentage of NFL fans could pick Matthew Judon on the street? I'm going to say like 6%.
I would take the under.
Yeah, he's got 14.5 sacks, and Derek Carr is going up against him.
He's another guy with just... Part of the problem is he doesn't have a cool nickname. It's just... There's no branding there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he needs to be just Mean Joe Green or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, he just
MJ Money, something.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
I'm just saying...
Think about it.
Like, when you think about sort of the,
It's a cool name, though, at least. It's not Mike White. Matthew Judon.
Oh, the Judon part of it. I thought you meant Matthew.
It's too easy.
Is a cool name, but I agree with you. But listen, between the two of us, we have 14 sacks in the season. We've had a great year, the two of us.
With Matthews.
The Matthews are crushing it. Here's the thing. I 100% agree with you about Derek Carr struggling. There have been 3 quarterbacks this year, only 3, that have scored even 17 fantasy points against the Patriots. 2 of them had rushing touchdowns in those games. Derek Carr, not the most mobile of guys. He does get Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow back this week, and while we're not recommending Renfrow, and Waller's only startable because he's a tight end, he does get some more passing weapons back. But to our point about quarterbacks struggling under pressure, to your point about Judon, Derek Carr and the Raiders having to face a Patriots team that is 3rd in the NFL in pressure rate. I think they struggle. Since week 10, they're allowing under 200 passing yards per game. Josh McDaniels seems to just want to run the ball.
Yep.
Like just Josh Jacobs. And maybe he learned his lesson from last week, but I don't want to take the chances in the fantasy playoffs. Derek Carr on the hate list.
Yep. Okay, we're going to go to break. When we come back, Thursday Night Football preview. Didn't think Geno Smith v. Brock Purdy would be a blockbuster at the start of the year, but it is, and we'll talk about it.
And here we are. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and RotoWorld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from RotoWorld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.